Welcome to Fantasy Sports Daily, powered by FantasyGuru.com. Monday through Friday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 9 a.m. Pacific. Ray Flowers breaks it all down for you from a fantasy sports perspective. Hey there, everyone. Ray Flowers of FantasyGuru.com. Hope you're doing well today. This is a special edition of the show. As you can see there on the screen, there's lots of things going on today at FantasyGuru.com. The number one thing being training camp. I appreciate you being here. I'm happy you're all here with me. We'll do the normal show here over the next hour. We'll throw up on the screen what we're doing here in a second. But don't forget, right now over at FantasyGuru.com, it is happening. Okay? This free show is here Monday through Friday, 12 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Again, I'm Ray Flowers. You can find me Twitter, X, Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky, all those places at the Ray Flowers. You can find me here with you most weeks, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. I'm with you 5 days a week this week, next week, and the following week because Justin Fensterman's away with his new child. So why am I telling you to go to FantasyGuru.com? Training camp. It's happening right now. Don't worry if you missed anything this morning, or if you don't have the ability to sit down and watch all day today, that's okay. Because much like this show, Fantasy Sports Daily, the training camp program will also be stored and available for you to watch on demand at any time over at FantasyGuru.com. What is training camp? You might be asking yourself. Why is Ray even mentioning this? Why is Ray saying, leave him to go watch this? Well, I will be on, as you can see, their training camp from 3 to 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Justin Fensterman, who I just mentioned, he'll be on right before me, 2 to 3. Basically, the entire staff over at FantasyGuru.com is giving 1 hour-long presentations on the 2025 fantasy football season. We even have college football, by the way, in there. But we've got from, 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, so it started a couple hours ago, to 9 o'clock tonight, full coverage over at the site. Rob Brink is talked already, NFL betting strategies. Phil Backert, intro and advanced study of IDP. Best ball strategies and roster constructions with Tyler Beaker. Armando Marsal is talking fantasy football league setups and roster construction. Justin Benjamin's on 2 to 3 with those auctions. A little bit of advice there. I've got building a winner, which is basically a catch-all. I'm talking about the preseason. I'm talking about in-season. I'm talking about the trade markets. I'm talking about roster composition. Talking about how you should set your league up. All these kind of things, some tips and trades. And by the way, all the hosts, including me, will be taking comments and questions throughout. So if you got any comments and questions throughout, we can also address those during this training camp. Rich Mileto comes on after me. Waiver wire and in-season strategies. Chris Rose, intro to DFS. So that's nice if you always wanted to do DFS, but you've never quite done it. Chris Rose will give you an intro on it. Spend an hour talking to you about that. Chris Bonder will talk college football and DFS as well as talking some betting. And then Jeff Mans and Ted Schuster are on 8 to 9. And then I think there's a poker tournament after at 9 o'clock. So get involved over FantasyGuru.com. Click the subscribe tab in the top right corner of the page. Hopefully, you'll join us there. As you can see there on the screen, you also get one other benefit. You get a ticket, and you get an entry fee taken care of. You get entered. How about this? Let's just say this. You get entered into the 2025 fourth annual Elite Mafia Fantasy Football Championship. So you get to take on me and Jeff and Ted and the crew over at FantasyGuru.com. So get signed up for training camp. You can watch it at any point, today, tomorrow, next week, whatever. It's all stored there. You also get access to the drafts, so you get to take on the hosts, the experts over at FantasyGuru.com. If you have any questions about that, send a note to support at FantasyGuru.com, support at FantasyGuru.com. What are we talking about today on the show? Well, here we go. Doing our baseball here at the top. Some injury updates, some big name players like Ronald Acuna, Jacob Wilson, Juan Soto. Like the Mets suck right now, okay. But Juan Soto's getting some hate. Let's talk a little bit about that. A bunch of pitchers today. King, Nola, Sasaki, Miller, Garcia, Sale, Bradish. All of these guys in various forms of injury, various forms of returning to injury, except for one, Michael King. So we'll talk about those guys on the hill before visiting with Russell Clay. Now, Russell Clay, again, will be over at training camp today as well, but he'll be joining us here in about 25 minutes. We'll talk about the Rashee Rice situation. We got a little bit of an update. The NFL waiting till week 4 or after week 4 to levy their sentence on Rashee Rice is very weird. As I've seen mentioned many times, Jordan Addison and Rashee Rice basically had their offseason transgressions happen at the same time. Addison's already got his suspension, and we know when it's going to happen. Why are they waiting till in season with Rashee Rice? It's very weird. But we'll talk a little bit more about all that with Russell Clay. And then we'll do a series of either ors. I'll throw out a name, two names. Who do you want? You want Brock Purdy or Justin Herbert? You want Hunter Henry or Johnny Smith? You want Tyler Warren or David Njoku? We'll go through a bunch of those, as you can see there on the screen, as we move forward with Russell Clay. Henry V says, by the way, Ray, I haven't missed an episode, but work makes it tough to listen live. First half tonight and in person. Well, good luck with the draft tonight, Henry. Hopefully you're enjoying the show and everything over at fantasyguru.com. You got your rankings set and all of that. As Henry mentioned here, and as you're seeing on the screen, if you're watching live, you can always ask a question at youtube.com/@ElitePlusNetwork or leave a comment. youtube.com/@ElitePlusNetwork, facebook.com/FantasyGuruHQ, and Twitter X @FantasyGuruSite. You can also watch on demand. It's stored there and all that kind of stuff, but you can watch it there live. If you want to just listen, you don't want to watch, go to fantasyguru.com and click the Elite Plus tab. There's a little tab at the top of the page. Click Elite Plus. That'll take you to all the shows we have, including this one, Fantasy Sports Daily. And then you can also just type in Fantasy Sports Daily wherever you listen to podcasts. So many ways to get involved. Hopefully, Henry, we've helped you get prepared. Thanks for listening. Thanks for being a part of the crew, and good luck tonight in your draft. John G says, my one football league is in its 40th year this season. That is wild. My friends basically stopped playing. My home league disappeared 20 years ago, 22 years ago. And I always miss it. We've told the story many times. When we started fantasy baseball, that was the first one we did. I was the commissioner, and we didn't have the internet. So we started in the 80s. So I had to actually wait till Sunday. It was the only day of the week where the Chronicle had the stats for the entire teams, besides the Giants and the A's they had every day. But on Sunday, they would come out with the expanded sporting green. They would have all the team stats. So no one knew how the week went. We kind of just tracked it, and we'd watch ESPN and, sit down together and all that kind of stuff. But no one really knew what the standings were until, Sunday afternoon after I pulled my pencil and paper and calculator out. World's a different place now. World is a different place now. But good for you, John. I'm glad you're still got your league going. That's fantastic to hear. You push that sucker up to 30 or 40 years. Just fantastic. All right, let's see what we can do here. Ronald Acuna is coming back today. Just want everyone to know that that's the case. We talked about that here on the show. Just a verification. Well, okay. He will be back today, provided he didn't sleep funny. That was kind of where the story came down, right? Basically, if he doesn't sleep poorly tonight, he'll be in the lineup tonight. So be looking out for that lineup today with the Braves. Let's see. I didn't look this morning because I'm doing so many things here. Yeah, the Braves don't play till 7:00 Eastern time tonight. So they haven't announced their lineup yet. No one has announced their lineup yet, have they? Oh, the Cubs have. Thank you, Cubs. Cubs have announced their lineup today. But yeah, we're expecting Ronald Acuna to return tonight. And again, as we talked about yesterday, he'll probably play today and then either Saturday or Sunday, not all 3 days, but obviously he can give 3 days of production in one day. Not surprising at all there. Okay. The Mets are in trouble. And I know the fans in New York tend to just a little bit, maybe slightly overreact, just a little. And free for all, and the Mets are setting records for having the best record to start the season, and then the worst. What are they? The best record, I don't know what it was, and then going 2-13 in a 15-game span, like some really weird numbers. But bottom line is the Mets are in trouble, right? Really struggling here. And people are taking it out on Juan Soto. Now, when you get paid $1 bazillion, I get it. I mean, you're the guy. You need to come through. Is an 878 OPS bad? Not at all. If that's your bad season, I mean, Juan Soto's not gone Yordan Alvarez, right? That's a bad season. Is Juan Soto at 878 in his OPS column disappointing? Yeah, maybe a little bit, sure. In the fantasy space? Yeah, okay, fine. Are his overall numbers where you want him to be? No, he's hitting 252. Okay. I will say that for those people that haven't looked, he has 1 home run and 1 steal. 1 home run and 1 steal. Away from 30-20. He's well on his way to scoring 100 runs. So his bad season is going to be 250, 30, 80, 100, 25. That's bad. Or 35, 25. That's bad. I think sometimes we need to recalibrate things in the fantasy space. Again, the production for Soto is not what we expected. We expected the batting average to be higher. We certainly expected there to be a little bit more RBI production. But with the 19 steals, I mean, you're drafting Soto and hoping for 9 steals, right? If he goes 35-25, I mean, wow. It's not how you expected the production to happen. But wouldn't you rather have 20 less RBIs to get 11 more steals? I think most people would. even with the more running we get nowadays. So here we go. Really interesting that people are smashing him. I don't know. Jacob Wilson's going to begin a rehab assignment tomorrow. Jacob Wilson obviously has been absolutely fantastic for the Athletics. It could not have gone better, other than the injury. Could not have gone better for him at all here in his first full season in the big leagues. He's already got 10 home runs and 5 steals, which if you told me he did that in an entire 150-game season, I would have said winning. It's only 94 games, and he's done that. 46 runs scored, 45 RBIs. Totally solid levels of production without being outstanding. He has gone in a slump. He's still hitting 312 with a 350 on base percentage. Like, this is, he's still in the running for the Rookie of the Year award, right? So hopefully he'll be back for the Athletics here in short order. That is something that they're obviously hoping next week at some point Jacob Wilson will be able to return. Wilson, again, overall numbers are really, really good. His last 10 games that he played, he hit 105. So a little bit of injury, a little bit of wearing down, a little bit of regression. The bottom line is he's still hitting 312. He still looks just like Luis Arias. Pretty damn good. He'll look to return from that fractured form, hopefully, at some point next week. Angelo says, older folks might remember playing chess by snail mail. I'm older. I don't remember that. I didn't play much chess. I played checkers. I guess I wasn't fancy enough to play chess. But yeah, we used to use snail mail. I still use snail mail, but we used to use it a lot more aggressively than we do now. That's for darn sure. Okay, moving on from Jacob Wilson. Nathaniel Lowe has been designated for assignment. This doesn't matter directly. Why it does matter is because he'll pass through waivers, I would have to assume, likely become a free agent. He's not going down to the minors. So Nathaniel Lowe will end up getting signed by somebody. So this is more of a, let's keep an eye on where he ends up, because we don't want him ending up somewhere where we start stealing at bats from somebody else, right? As we talked about with him earlier in the year, he seemingly gave up his game, his contact game, to try to do more damage. He did accomplish that in some respects. In other respects, the season's just been a mess. He's hitting barely 215, and his on-base percentage is under 300. So what he has done for the launch angle, what he has done for the ability to damage the baseball, it didn't work. So hopefully, for his sake, he'll go back to being who he was, But just keep an eye on this, because, again, he's going to go somewhere, sign as a veteran, maybe have a nice couple weeks here, but basically just steal some at-bats from other people. That's more why I'm bringing that up. Ryan Mountcastle is somebody who, remember, it's August 15th today, so we might start seeing the Samuel Basallos and the Bubba Chandlers we've talked about. These rookies might start getting called up today, tomorrow, over the weekend. Mountcastle's interesting because right now he's going to play every day for the Orioles. Last night he went 1 for 3. He actually stole a couple of bases last night. He's 5 for 20 with a couple of home runs since he's returned from the injured list. However, if Basallo does get called up, which seems likely, it seems very unlikely, even if they call him up, they're going to play him at catcher. That just doesn't seem like what they're going to do. And even if they do catch him, it's going to be once a week kind of thing. He's not going to obviously take over for Adley Rutschman. So Basallo is going to be at a DH in first base. Where does Mountcastle play? Okay, there we go. So this one is really, this one will be a situation where if Basallo gets called up, everyone's going to be in, which I get. And they should be, because he's obviously a fantastic offensive performer. Mountcastle, Kobe Mayo. Excuse me. Jeez. It's happened a couple days in a row. Sorry about that. Give me one moment. Whoa. Whew, that never happened. Sorry about that. Mayo, Mountcastle, and Basallo, 3 guys for 2 spots. So all of those guys probably take a little bit of a bat hit. If that's the case, I would love to see them play Basallo and Mountcastle and Mayo every day and just not play Mountcastle. I don't know if they would do that. Kobe Mayo, the last couple of weeks, hitting 167, certainly not forcing anyone's hand this year. He's had a rough 140 at-bats at the big league level. So those 3 guys will basically come down to sharing 2 spots. So we're going to see some lost playing time most likely there. Riley Greene yesterday hit a home run, a 2-run home run, in fact, against the Twins off of Bailey Ober. Riley Greene he had been really effective the last couple seasons, dealt with some injuries, and expectations were really high, and then he kind of missed it and everything. And last year he was good. 24 home runs, 74 RBIs, 82 runs scored. And I think people kind of came into this year. Some people came into this year and they're like, eh. Other people were like, let's get this guy. And here we are. It's 119 games. He's up to 28 home runs, 89 RBIs, 64 runs scored, got an 829 OPS. OPS is about the same. But last year, basically 25-75. This year, he's going 30-110. So he has taken that step. He's really slowed down the last couple of weeks. So it's really nice to see the last week him pick things back up. That's 2 home runs, 5 runs scored, 5 RBIs the last week. I think overall his game is about where we could have hoped it would be if everything went right. Unfortunately, he doesn't run. There was some hope early in his career that he would run a little bit. He just doesn't run. So he's kind of he's in that zone where when you're not running and you're hitting 268, 269, you need to go 30-100, right? You need to be one of those guys. And so it's tough to get super excited about Riley Greene unless we start getting the inkling that he's going to start being a 40-120 guy. He's going to be Kyle Schwarber, which that's really high bar. So props to Greene. If you drafted him this year, you're really happy. I assume I am. With the results that you've gotten, he's fulfilled the expectations, and now it's just a matter of him continuing to do what he's doing. It would be nice to see him walk a little bit more, get the on-base percentage up a little bit. But right now, he's powering the baseball very, very well. Ozzie Albies hit a home run, had a double yesterday. We've talked about Ozzie Albies all season long. He's another one of the veteran players that absolutely will not live up to expectations. There's no possible way that will occur. We'll point out as we have that there are a few signs here that you might get an effective player down the stretch. Effective being a relative term. Maybe Ozzie Albies ends up being a middle infield option in mixed leagues. This season has just been bad. I mean, it's just, and for his age and his track record, and there's a lot of players. I mean, Juan Soto, you want to get mad at? Okay. Ozzie Albies, you can get disappointed with. That's totally fair in the case of Ozzie Albies because he's played every day. And he's 10-10. He's 10 home runs, 11 RBIs, hitting 227. Some signs there. He might be in the DFS write-up today over at fantasyguru.com, maybe. Keep him on the watch list if you haven't added him up to waiver wire. The Brewers placed Blake Perkins on the bereavement list. Just wanted to point that out because I don't know if it officially happened last night. If it didn't, it's going to happen today. But Perkins will go to the bereavement list. Why does that matter? Well, because he's been a very effective performer, as we've discussed. 19 runs scored in 22 games, 3 home runs and 5 steals in those 22 games. So he's been quite effective. But he will be out of the lineup for a couple of days, and we obviously wish him and whatever's going on there with his personal life the best. Okay, let's talk some pitching. We've got a bunch of guys kind of coming back and guys to discuss, and then we got one negative here. And this is kind of so emblematic of what the season has looked like. Michael King's on the injured list. Spent 2.5 months on the injured list with a shoulder issue. Makes one start. Got a knee issue now. Back on the injured list. Today, the Padres will go with Randy Vasquez, which is obviously very good news for the Dodgers, not very good news for the Padres. We don't have a clear indication on Michael King and when he's going to return to the Padres, but, this is rough. You think you're finally getting the guy back. We're going to talk about a bunch of these guys here in a sec. Like I noted, that we think we're getting them back. We think things are going in the right direction. All right, we're going to come down the stretch here. We're going to finally start making some moves in the standings. And then no. And Michael King, he's only made 11 starts this season. Strikeout an inning, 2.80 ERA, 1-1 whip. I mean, basically the same guy he was last year. He's been terrific. He's made 11 starts. And we're looking at him missing at least half the season this year on injury. So we'll wait to see what the full outlay here of the knee injury situation is with him. Randy Vasquez, again, will start today. And here we go. Disappointing. On the positive side, and I see Eric mentioning this in the chat, the Phillies are going to activate Aaron Nola. Excuse me, I almost said Austin. Aaron Nola to pitch Sunday against the Nationals. He'll return to the starting rotation. Eric says this: with Aaron Nola coming off the 60-day IL, do you think he's worth rolling out there? The injury concern is the move. The injury concern and the move to the 6-man rotation is also a concern. We speculated on this earlier this week on the show that will the Phillies go 6-man rotation or not? As of right now, what we're hearing is they will go with the 6-man rotation. Taijuan Walker will remain in the rotation for the Phillies. That's what they're saying now. And that could last a turn, 2 turns. It could be the rest of the season. We're not really clear on the workload piece. They also have Andrew Painter, who they could call up, as we've discussed previously. The 6-man rotation obviously would ding everybody. part of the six-man rotation, I think, is the situation that we've also discussed with Zach Wheeler and the fact that Wheeler's, had his shoulder's been a little wonky and the velocity's been down a little bit, and they've monitored his pitch count a little bit, and they gave him a little extra rest. Going to a six-man rotation saves him a little bit too. So this six-man thing with them might have a little bit of legs. It might last a little bit here. I think Aaron Nola is worth an addition off the waiver wire. He pitched poorly this season. There's no doubt about that. The matchup on Sunday against the Nationals is a good one. As I said earlier this week with Hunter Greene, I'll definitely reiterate it today with Aaron Nola, Eric. I just can't recommend starting Aaron Nola. I just can't. Maybe he goes out there and pitches a great game. Then you'd feel good about using him in his next start. But I can't. I can recommend adding Aaron Nola right now. I would not recommend starting him. We just don't know. He was so ineffective previously. And when you go down to the minors and you're successful at the minor league level, when you're Aaron Nola, you should. You got pitches, you got arm angles, you got experience. You should be able to get out 22-year-olds. Like, come on, you should be able to do that. So it's hard to get really excited about the production at the minor league level for a guy like Aaron Nola because he's not throwing 99 miles an hour. He's just mixing and matching and pitching to guys that are working on their understanding of pitches. So I wouldn't recommend starting him against the Nationals. It is a good matchup. The ankle's supposedly good. The side's supposedly good. It sounds like he's able to throw 85 pitches and all that kind of stuff. But I'd be very reluctant to start him against the Nationals. Ranger Suarez, by the way, is getting bumped to Monday. So he'll face the Mariners on Monday. He gets the extra rest, obviously, here as they go to that. Roki Sasaki. Oof. I mean, it's really easy to forget. I mean, we're talking about Juan Soto, right? Talking about Ozzie Albies. Roki Sasaki was a lot of people's NL Rookie of the Year choice this year. Like, there was a lot of heat with Roki Sasaki this year. You remember that? And this season has been a mess. And we talked about him in the preseason on the show over in articles at fantasyguru.com. We talked about the fact that, there were some concerns about his arm. The velocity is down a little bit, but most scouts were kind of like going, Well, Sasaki's missed all this time. Shoulder issue, shoulder impingement, I guess is what they're technically calling it. And he went out yesterday, made a rehab start down at AAA. Gave up 3 runs and 6 hits, 2+ innings. Not good. He used to hit triple digits and oftentimes sat at about 97, 98 miles an hour. Roki Sasaki did with the fastball. This year at the major league level, he was throwing about 96, which again is that loss of velocity we were just mentioning. Last night in his minor league outing, his hardest pitch was 95.7. So he didn't even throw a single pitch at his already diminished level. And in fact, he averages 93.6 miles an hour on his fastball. Now, throwing in the minor leagues, you're working your way back, you're not going 100%, you don't have the adrenaline, all these things are fine. But remember, at 93.6 last night, if we go back to last year, he was throwing 98. It's 4.5 miles an hour. So I don't know if we're going to see Sasaki this year. I don't know if they're going to end up shutting him down. I certainly don't look at Sasaki at this point in time and think he's anything other than a relief arm. Maybe they try to do that with him, make him a 2-inning reliever or something like that. We'll see. Maybe he has a role come playoff time. Maybe he helps down the stretch as that long reliever. That could happen. But it's very difficult to envision a scenario where Sasaki's a starter this year for anybody. So if you're holding on to him, hoping for that, I think it's time for you to move on. Bryce Miller is about ready to return for the Mariners. Now, Bryce Miller's got the elbow issue. He's got chips in his elbow. Is that what it is? I'm trying to remember. I think it's a chip in his elbow. He's going to need most likely to have a surgery in the offseason. Not expected to be a big deal. They obviously wouldn't let him pitch now if they were worried about the bone spur, if it's a bone spur, getting in there and tearing the ligament. So they're comfortable letting him pitch. But he's likely to need that cleanup procedure. Should be fine for 2026. He gave up a couple runs and 2 hits over 5 2/3 innings on Wednesday at his effort in AAA. Struck out 4, walked 1. His fastball was at 96+, which is about as hard as he's thrown this season. So taking the opposite of the Sasaki approach here with Bryce Miller, the velocity was as good as it's basically been this year, which is great to see. We know in the case of Bryce Miller that he vastly underperformed this year when he was out on the hill. It's easy to blame the health woes, and there it is. But it seems very likely that his next outing could come at the big league level next week for the Mariners. We will continue to watch and follow this storyline, not only because I'm a personal fan of him, but because I'm a fan of him. A lot of you probably have him on your team as well. I have him on a lot of my teams as well. And it'll be interesting to see what they do with this rotation. Obviously, Logan, Gilbert, Luis Castillo, George Kirby, Brian, all are staying in the rotation. So it's a matter of, do they go 6-man with Miller and Logan Evans? Or does Logan Evans, who stepped in and done a very good job, right, as they've needed him? Evans is 6-5 with a 4.3 ERA. Does Evans just get removed from the rotation? I think he might. Still, all 6 of these guys are all right-handed. That's an issue that obviously the Mariners are going to have to address. All righties, that's not the best way to attack an opponent. Luis Garcia, the Astros, he's getting close to coming back as well. We talked a lot about Christian Javier, right? Here's another Astro. Eric Getty just got back. You got Lance McCullers floating around. We've talked so much about all these Astros pitchers. Looks like next week is when we're likely to see Luis Garcia, who was a pretty good pitcher before he had his arm issues and surgery and all that. Most likely, Jason Alexander is out of the rotation. That'd be my best guess at this point. I think most people would agree with that. Garcia threw 77 pitches in his last outing. He gave up 1 run and 6 hits in 4 2/3 innings. His fastball was down about a mile per hour in his last outing from where it was last time out. Now, a mile per hour is much different than 4.5. So, we can, maybe the gun's a little different. Maybe there was that little lack of adrenaline. Maybe he's working on some things. Maybe his mechanics were slightly. Okay. So I'm not worried about 1 mile an hour with Luis Garcia. Interesting that he threw 77 pitches. So he might need one more outing at the minor league level. He might be 2. But there is a chance he's back at the big league level next week. If he is, he goes on the watch list because Luis Garcia is a back-end pitcher. He's not a star. He's not a dominant force. He's more of a mix and matchup kind of play, which I know is very attractive to a lot of you, especially in head-to-head leagues. So he's definitely someone that should be going on the watch list. We'll continue to monitor him very closely here, especially when he makes that first big league effort. Chris Sale going to make his second minor league start on Sunday. He's coming back from that rib fracture issue, through 2 scoreless innings, his last start or last outing. When is he going to be back? It really seems like he's going to be back. There was some back and forth about, will he actually ever come back this year? They're going to shut him down. I think he's eligible the 19th of August, right? So he makes that start on Sunday. He could theoretically be back next week for the Rays. Now, he threw 2 innings last time. Let's say he goes 3, maybe 4 this time. He's at 60 pitches. Do they call him up and say, hey, throw 72 pitches in your first outing? Maybe. It's Chris Sale. Maybe. So I would say there is a legitimate chance right now that he is back on the hill for the Braves before the end of the month. I think that's legitimate and fair. We'll obviously watch things on Sunday and hope he has another solid effort like he did the first time out. Kyle Bradish, next guy and final guy to talk about on the baseball side of things. Bradish struck out 9 over 5 scoreless innings last night at AAA. Easy to forget about Bradish because he's had setbacks and he's had surgery and all that kind of stuff. But 5 scoreless, only gave up those 2 hits, had those big 9 strikeouts. He's going to need one more rehab start after this one. At least that's what we heard. But that was said also before he went out and was freaking dominant last night. So do they fast forward him and give him his next start at the big league level? Braden Young is the guy. Braden Young's pitching today for the Orioles, right? Let me verify that. I think he is today. Yeah, he is pitching today. He's pitching today for the Orioles, 0-6 with a 6.7 ERA. He obviously is out of the rotation when Bradish is ready to go. So Bradish could, in theory, be making a start 6 days from now. The next time turn through the rotation, that's doable for the Orioles. But again, they did say he would need 2 starts before his last start, meaning he would need 1 more. We'll see what the Orioles do. So that's kind of a review of the pitching side of things here at fantasyguru.com. This is Fantasy Sports Daily, powered by FG. I am Ray Flowers. Follow me Twitter, X, Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky, all those places at the Ray Flowers. Remember, right now, it's happening right now, folks. This very moment, I'm looking to see if there's any updated baseball injury information. Not really, just kind of flashing through. Right now, training camp is going on over at fantasyguru.com. It's a place you need to be. It's a thing you want to do. Get signed up at fantasyguru.com. You can catch anything that you missed already. The shows are all videoed, right? You can catch them on demand at any point in time, right? You can rewatch them once the season begins. You're thinking about the trade market. You want to go back and rewatch the 1-hour presentation that includes how you handle trades. You can do that. Started at 9 o'clock this morning, goes all the way through 9 o'clock tonight. There's a poker game later tonight for those people that have got access to the training camp. Click that subscribe tab in the top right corner of the page. Send a note to support at fantasyguru.com if you got a question. My presentation is on from 3 to 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, talking about building a winner. Right after me, from 4 to 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, is our next guest, Russell J. Clay. He'll be on talking Dynasty Leagues. He's our Dynasty League guy. You know that. We've talked to him here on the show about that. You see him in Discord answering questions, all that kind of stuff. You see him on the live stream on Tuesday nights, 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Click that subscribe tab at the top right corner of the page. Get signed up for the product. The football product is live, obviously, right now. The seasonal product is crazy. Every day the rest of the way, there's going to be an article up every day, maybe more. The package you get now, the preseason package, is a full season package. So it covers you all throughout the year. So don't think it just ends in week 1. No, it goes all throughout the year. You can sign up for the seasonal package and get all that access right now. Sign up for the DFS package. Sign up for the wagering package. You can sign up for all these packages right now. Bundle them together. Become a VIP Platinum and get everything we do on every sport. And remember, there are also all these presentations today as part of that training camp, which is an additional price point if you have the basic package. If you have anything above the basic package, it's included. And included in that sign up is an entry fee, or an entry spot, I should say. So the 4th annual Elite Mafia Fantasy Football Championship, to join leagues to take on Ted Schuster and Jeff Manns and Ray Flowers and our next guest, Russell J. Clay. So let's bring in Russ, our Dynasty man. You see me here every Friday at about 12:30 Eastern Standard Time. It's Russ J. Clay. How you doing, Russ?
What's going on, Ray?
Busy day, man. We got all this. You had the show here. We got the show going on over there. You're here. You're there. I'm here. I'm there. I got DFS baseball I'm writing up. I'm answering questions. Whew. I'm going to need a tiki drink later tonight. What about you?
Coffee's good for now.
Yeah.
Probably need to have some sort of retreat after this. I'll call up Aaron Rodgers. We'll see if he's got some time away, right?
He probably has some ayahuasca as Norm runs away behind you there. Hey, Norm. Norm is wrestling for those of you watching. I've never done ayahuasca. I have a friend, for those people, the neighbor's wife, going way back, if you listened to Sirius XM a long time ago, you know who that is, that had dabbled in that. And apparently it's very mind-opening. It is. Wow. I've never experienced anything like that. I'm not a drug guy.
I haven't. I haven't either. But shout out to Aaron Rodgers, who's going to be the starter for the Pittsburgh Steelers this year, right?
Yeah, he will.
Maybe.
We'll see. Yeah, we'll see. Russ again joins us every Friday at about 12:30 Eastern Standard Time. You can see him at 4 o'clock today, giving his hour-long presentation on Dynasty Leagues. There'll be a PowerPoint thing, the whole thing, all fanciness and everything. You can ask him questions over there, the whole thing. Russ, I want to ask you, we're going to do a whole series of either ors. I'm going to throw 2 names at you at a position and say, hey, who'd you rather have this year, kind of thing. But before we get to that, I want to talk to you about the Rashee Rice thing, because we got an update yesterday with Rice. Yeah. And, we're hearing that he's going to play. They're going to have the discussions week 4 right after that. So he's getting suspended for an unknown period of time at some point in the season. Kind of weird. Jordan Addison had his thing where he got a suspension at the start of the year. We know what it is. Not really sure why this is the deal with the Royals, with the Chiefs. I don't know. Maybe it has something to do with the Chiefs' schedule and the fact they play Baltimore Ravens in week 4. And then we're going to adjudicate things after that game. I don't know. How do we handle Rashee Rice? Because we don't know what the suspension is going to be. We don't know when it's going to start or how long it's going to go.
My stance currently is I'm not dealing with it. That's my stance. And it's kind of like when I listen to like Slipknot or something, and I'm like, all right, I don't know what's going on here. This is too much for me. I'm out. This is probably great music. There's a lot of fans of this. I'm out. Rashee Rice, great young receiver, will be featured in Kansas City. I don't know what the heck's going on here. I don't want to know. And the good news for me is someone's going to draft him 15 slots higher than I would want to every single draft. So I'm just going to let them do it. And if he goes for 1,700 yards and 20 touchdowns, then I'm just going to lose fantasy this year. But the downside is, like you mentioned, we don't know when or if the suspension's coming. If it doesn't come, then you have a league winner in the 3rd round. So that's a huge win. I don't know. I've never seen it. I'm staying away. If you want to take that risk with a guy coming off, pretty major injury last year, fine with me.
Well, there's that too, right? It's not just the suspension; it's the injury too with him. But why is it that Addison's taken care of, and we need 3 extra months for Rashee Rice? Does that make any sense at all? Am I stupid? Am I missing something?
None, other than it being the Chiefs, so we all get to conspiracy theorize about them, right?
Yeah, theoretically, it's when the judge is available. It just happens to be after a nationwide game against the Ravens. It just happens to be the same time on the schedule. Anyway,
yeah.
the NFL is not rigged, but there are a lot of hinky things that go on in the NFL. Russ Clay joins us every Friday here on the show. Let's do some either ors for this year. Kind of guys that had similar ADPs that play the same position, and kind of get your take. You're our dynasty guy, but more of a short-term look on these guys. And again, they're going to be very similar. So interesting to see why you take one guy over the other. We'll start at the quarterback position. My guy, Brock Purdy. We'll go down the coast to Justin Herbert, 2 California quarterbacks, 2 guys that people are fine with as their QB1s, but not as much excitement as there been in the past for either one. Purdy versus Herbert. How do you play this one out?
I hate to say it as a big Justin Herbert fan, but it's probably Brock Purdy. I do like Brock Purdy's offense. They have a lot of good weapons there. We don't necessarily know who's going to have the big breakout between Pearsall, Juwan Jennings, Jacob Cowing, the whole wide receiver depth chart there. But we do know he has George Kittle. He has a very good running game, and Purdy's been a good fantasy quarterback when healthy. So I'm going to go him. And I like Herbert. I want Herbert to throw for 5,000 yards every year. But last year felt like a clear sign of, hey, guys, we're not trying to score fantasy points anymore at all. So I'm waving the white flag on that one.
Yeah, I mean, it's easy to forget, but Justin Herbert's first 2 years were about as good as the first 2 years of any quarterback, or they might have been the best 2 years ever. He had 69 touchdown passes in 2 years. He went 5,000 yards and 38 touchdowns in the second season.
Yeah.
And then he turned into a little bit of a game manager. It's kind of weird. I mean, it's there if they need it, right? And I watch him play, and I love this guy. Like, I drafted him in my dynasty league that we talked about, my startup dynasty league team. And it's like, he's my backup quarterback to Pat Mahomes. I feel like I'm set for the next decade, but I'd love to see them open it up, though. It doesn't seem like they really want to right now. What about another battle at the quarterback position? Jared Goff, CJ Stroud. Stroud's the young guy. Goff's the old guy. Stroud's the sexy guy. Goff's the boring guy. Goff's been the productive guy. Stroud's trying to get there. Goff or Stroud?
I will say, I do think Goff's numbers are going to go down this year, but I would still go him. The Texans are another team where I love Stroud and I like Herbert as future long-term 10-plus year starters, but I don't think they want to win with passing. I think they want to grind out the clock, win with defense, and they added a few weapons, but that's mostly due to Tank Dell losing basically his career, I would assume. Or being very hindered by that injury he had last year. So they brought in a bunch of receivers. I would still go with Goff. I know there's no Ben Johnson, but that offense is absolutely loaded again. So still Goff for me.
Russell Clay, fantasyguru.com. Some backup running backs. Now, please handcuff your running backs. If you grab James Conner, if you grab James Cook, get the backups. People don't do that. People don't like to do it. People get sniped when they want to do it. So let's play the snipe game. Trey Benson or Ray Davis? Which guy would you prefer if you're just randomly throwing the dart, trying to grab a running back late that could help you out?
Oh,
you got to prognosticate
I got to pick one. That's a good. That's
right?
about as good as it gets. If you're doing the percentages, it's like 50.1% versus 49.99.
Okay,
I would go with Trey Benson just about every time, purely due to his upside in role. Trey Benson profiles like a featured back, was a very good prospect out of Florida State. And all indications were he was set up to take over for James Conner.
Right.
However, James Conner, shout out to James Conner. We all like James, has fought through a lot in his career, but he's not going away. So if something does happen to James Conner, I think Benson is in for 20 to 25 touches a game. I do like Ray Davis. I would draft both if I had them back-to-back picks, but yeah, Benson's the guy for me.
Let's go to some, I guess technically one of these two guys, both these guys might start in week 1. They really might. Nick Chubb and Jerome Ford. Chubb has got Joe Mixon, and we just don't know, and Damian Pierce is not impressed, and they drafted Marks, but he's a rookie. Now we've got Judkins, who may or may not have signed. I guess he didn't technically sign. There was a report that he was still, but he's been cleared of charges, so he looks like he's path to joining the Browns is there. Sampson's obviously there. Ford's the veteran, was likely to get a start in week 1. Ford or Chubb? And do you care? Does it matter?
Yuck. I think the appeal would be Ford, but now that Quinshon Judkins is cleared ish, I mean, it's gonna be a quick install for him, right? Getting back in there and getting everything set up. So I would assume Ford is the starter to begin the year. So if I'm gonna fire week 1, it would probably be Ford. But yeah, the Mixon, Chubb, Woody Marks thing, we'll figure that out regular season. That's going to be a nightmare, I imagine.
Angela leaves a comment here, and I just wanted to, expand upon it a little bit with you, Russ. I held Algier all last season, and then LOL. Clearly, he held Algier and didn't get anything out of him. If Algier was your handcuff to Bijan Robinson, you did it right. Didn't matter that you didn't. If you picked off Tyler Algier, just like we're talking about picking off Trey Benson or Ray Davis, you're picking off these guys basically hoping for an injury, because these guys are all support running backs. As good as Benson or Davis is, they're support running backs. As good as Algier is, support running back. There's no, Angela, I don't know your situation, but there's no reason to be angry or upset if you did it right. If you did it wrong, well, that's why we talk about handcuffing, right? Isn't that, because this is what happens. And again, I don't know what Angela's situation was, Russ, but this is what happens. Someone will pick Tyler Algier. He won't do anything for 5 weeks. They'll drop him when the bye weeks start. Week 7, Bijan Robinson gets hurt, and here comes Tyler Algier on the waiver wire. He's taking 50% of your fab, and the rest of the way he's running back 14. Am I wrong?
So Trey Benson last year did nothing. There were no startable weeks. There was nothing good about any of it. However, there were a few touches here and there where I go, all right, this is the right play.
Yeah.
This is the right play. James Conner stayed healthy. There was like one game where he had like 10 rushing attempts and he had 60 yards. And I'm like, this was the correct process. Algier, we've already seen what he can do with a bigger role. So I actually think Algier's proven. Like, we're pretty locked in on what that is. Right. So, yeah, no, I'm totally with you. I think that's great analysis.
Oh, well, that's why we have you on the show. Thank you, Russ. RussPlay@fantasyguru.com. Just agree with me. We'll have you on more. Wide receivers. And this one is 2 veterans. Both guys are injured. I guess one has the potential to be ready for week 1, but it doesn't look like either one is going to play in week 1. Both guys are probably going to start on the PUP list. Chris Godwin, Brandon Aiyuk. There's been a lot of people throughout the entire offseason process in the fantasy space that have ignored the injuries both guys are dealing with. And it seems like a lot of people drafted either Godwin or Aiyuk thinking they were going to play in week 1. That was never my personal expectation. What do you do with these 2 guys? Do you draft either one of these guys? I recently did a Superflex League draft over at SiriusXM Fantasy Sports Radio with all the hosts. And I took Brandon Aiyuk as my 5th receiver. Would you do something like that with Aiyuk or Godwin? Are you out on both? Who would you rather have if you had to make that choice?
I have been out on both all off season. With that said, Aiyuk is super intriguing if he can get back. The last time we really saw him, he was a top 10 receiver in the league. You could say the same about Godwin. So it's pretty much the same play. The only issue is Godwin's older, has had multiple injuries, multiple lower body injuries, and they drafted a clear replacement with Emeka Egbuka. So I've been pretty weary of whenever organizations make picks of, they're shipping in the new girlfriend, Ray.
Right.
Like she's right there and blowing up in camp and looking good. I don't know that I don't know that Godwin is gonna be locked into last year's role. Whereas if Aiyuk's back and ready, he's gonna be back in that role.
Yeah, it's fine if you're a bigamist, but if you're not,
Yeah.
it's tough to get the new blood in there all the time.
Yeah.
Russ Clay of fantasyguru.com. This next one on the surface is crazy because one of these guys was a top, I want to say 10 without looking at it, top 10 receiver in the second half of the season last year, and the other guy was a disappointment. But Odunze, Jerry Jeudy, similar-ish ADP, certainly more excitement about Odunze. We don't know who the quarterback is in Cleveland. We don't know who the quarterback is going to be in Cleveland. We just talked about the backfield mess. The receiving core, we're hoping Tillman takes a step, but the receiving core is kind of messy. Odunze or Jerry Jeudy? Numbers-wise, it's Jeudy, but would you take Jeudy or Odunze this year?
The upside is with Odunze, and I like that play, and it's one I've been making. Of course, a top 10 pick last year, profiled really well out of Washington, goes to this crazy offense that he's now in with a first overall pick quarterback, great offensive coordinator, opportunity on the depth chart. Whereas Jerry Jeudy is good. He proved that last year, but we also got the ceiling of Jerry Jeudy, and we also know the downside, which was every other year of his career. So I like Jerry Jeudy. I liked him coming out, but there's been far more disappointment than good stuff throughout his career. So we do have to factor that in. I would go with Rome. It's just the Cleveland quarterback situation. I worry if they go to Shador, it might be a more run-heavy offense past a certain point and limit upside.
Michael Pittman, uncertainty at quarterback. Keenan Allen, certainty at quarterback, just signed off the street. We were just talking about his quarterback earlier. Kind of damaging the other guys in the receiving core, maybe more so than stepping forward himself. Pittman or Allen? Do you take the chance on the younger guy? You take a chance on the older guy with the better quarterback situation? What do you do?
Everyone has their favorite Colts weapon, and there's Josh Downs. There's a Josh Downs fan club. There's a Tyler Warren fan club. There's a few people out there, they go to the alien interview with the guy who lives in the barn, and he goes, "I'm a big Alec Pierce guy." There and for all good reasons, they've all shown good upside. Michael Pittman did have like 100 catches a few years ago. Yep. So I might take the upside there with Danny Dimes maybe getting in there and making Pittman his featured intermediate weapon. But yeah, it's that Colts offense. I'm very curious how that plays out.
Russell Clay of fantasyguru.com. Just mentioned his name. Let's talk about him. Tyler Warren. David Njoku. Lots of Browns on this list, trying to figure the situation out. Njoku has had big games. He's been consistent at times. He's flashed huge plays. He's also got the uncertain quarterback play. He's also had injuries. It's easy to see Joe Flacco chucking on the ball 10 times a week. Kenny Pickett 4 times a week. Like, what do you do? And then we've got a rookie tight end who we just saw, Brock Bowers have arguably the greatest rookie season of all time at the tight end spot. But as you pointed out and written articles about, doesn't happen. Warren or Njoku? ADP's close.
My gut tells me Njoku. I don't know if that's a strong read, but I would go with Njoku for now. He's been really fun throughout his career. And the last couple years, he's been pretty consistent. I like his role in that offense. The thing with rookie tight ends, they don't need great offenses. They just need a stable role. And that is no guarantee in year one, as mentioned, whether that's even starter snaps. Do they have a veteran that is going to take blocking snaps or, be on the field more than we want? And then you have the Michael Pittman thing, who's been used as almost a tight end-ish wide receiver the last couple years. So that is the big thing with Warren for me, is the Michael Pittman role. So if they move him outside like he profiled then I can see it working. But yeah, the Warren thing, you got to worry about Pittman.
Johnny Smith was being drafted highly. Got traded. Aaron Rodgers got traded. ADP starting to fall. He's one of 2 tight ends there. What's his role going to be? We're hearing, H-back. He's going to use out of the backfield, all this kind of stuff. Arthur Smith, the whole thing. And then you got Hunter Henry, who boring, but caught passes last year. He's involved in this offense. We've talked a lot about the Patriots receiving core. A lot of uncertainty there, a lot of volatility there. I don't know. Henry and Johnny Smith, to me, are kind of in that tight end 2 zone, so they're not guys I'm drafting. But I know in so many drafts, people take that second tight end, Russell. They take that second tight end, or they're just going to wait until the 14th round to take their tight end and might grab one of these guys. Either one stand out to you, Johnny Smith or Hunter Henry?
Yeah, Hunter Henry was a favorite of Drake May when he got in there in the second half of the season. He did get hurt those final 2 games, so we didn't get a full season. But Henry, beyond the touchdowns, basically had a career year last season. True. So I like that play quite a bit. Again, last year he had 97 targets, 66 receptions in 15 games there. So really like that play. I just think Drake May is the upside play for late round quarterbacks. And with that comes, okay, there's unseen upside with the offense around him right now.
Got a comment here in the chat room, Russ. John G says, are you guys concerned that Jalen Hurts will have yet another offensive coordinator? When teams have success, when players have success, we don't often talk about changes on the coaching staff in depth. When they struggle, we talk about it all the time. What do you think here? Seems like a pretty cerebral guy. Seems like he's had success. I'm not concerned. What I think is going to happen, and you tell me if you're wrong, it's like they're not going to get 2,000 rushing yards out of Barkley again. They're not going to give him the ball 400 times again. And Hurts is going to throw the ball a little bit more this year. So the production might be a little different than last year, but I still think he gets there in terms of his fantasy outlook. What do you think?
Listen, you could have me in there at the goal line, and Jalen Hurts is going to be just fine. So really, the crux of his fantasy value for us is the tush push and those 12 to 15 rushing touchdowns per year. Everything else is just all extra. If we get that as the base, it doesn't really matter. He's going to be a top 5. There's just nobody in the league that can compete with that other than Josh Allen, right? But that's one guy. So his over-under's 12.5 rushing touchdowns right now. The OC, I could see some differences in the passing game. If players get hurt, I could see the offense being weaker, but ultimately he just has a checkmate move that nobody else has. So, yeah.
Russ, I know that you're going to be on the training camp. Let's throw it up on the screen here today. You're going to be on the training camp from 4 to 5 Eastern time here, right after me. I'm on 3 to 4, talking about dynasty leagues and all that kind of stuff. Do you have a bunch of fancy graphics like you do in your articles for the presentation?
I would say we're gonna fire off with some themes. There might be some pretzels at the end.
Oh,
I haven't decided yet.
Okay.
But yeah, we're going to roll through, we've done the training camp for a few years now. So you got to hit the major intro points to the dynasty landscape here. But really, a lot of the topics are going to be what's on the site, basic logic for dynasty leagues, and then talking about the dynasty rankings and going from there. So should be a fun hour. I think we got our set ready and we'll fire off. So yeah, should be fun.
Yeah, he'll be on 4 to 5 Eastern. I'll be on 3 to 4 Eastern, right an hour before him, talking about building a winner. It's going on right now. If you've missed any part of it, don't worry. It's all stored, so you can catch it on demand at any point you want. Click the subscribe tab in the top right corner. You can also click the training camp tab at the very top of the page if you want to get signed up. As you can see there on the screen, you get an entry into the 4th Annual Elite Mafia Fantasy Football Championship. So all you out there that say, Russell Clay doesn't know what he's talking about, I could kick his ass in the fantasy football league, you get an opportunity to do that.
That's right.
You probably say that about me more than they would say that about you. But yeah, you get a chance to join and take us all on. So that's a nice little benefit there. There's likely to be a poker game at the end here. There's question and answers throughout. So head over to fantasyguru.com, get signed up for that. In terms of people that have signed up or the people who are signing up, Russ, I know that you've been doing some training camp report updates. You obviously been doing your Dynasty League updates. Rookie expectations, you got those all finished where you kind of went and broke down the history of the 4 main positions? Are those done yet?
Yep, those are firing off. So definitely go check those out. And yeah, auction book updates. I did a draft battle with Armando yesterday. So we're clicking. We're firing on all cylinders over at FG.
Who is the training camp battle? Let the folks know.
It was Travion Henderson versus Caleb Johnson, and I did Travion, but I did say at the end, just take all the 2025 running backs. Just take them all.
Oh, you copped out, huh? Just take them all? Well, just take them all. Well, see, look, I'm looking at it right now. See, Armando did his nice little clean write-up, and here's yours. You got a graph, you got a table, you got a tweet, like Russell Clay bringing it. Russell, we appreciate you joining us every Friday. We appreciate you doing double duty today with the work over at training camp as well. Pretzel reviews are those. You mentioned you might talk some pretzels today. Where do we stand in the grand scheme? Likely to see those kick back on as the football season starts? Likely to see them wait a little bit, little dormancy? What do we think?
Yeah. So now that we've done 10, it's harder to find ones we haven't tried or reviewed yet. Right. So we'll see where those go. It's really more when I have time and more fun, but they're around. They're on TikTok. Some of them are on YouTube, and yeah.
Check them out, folks. Russell Clay, Russell J. Clay, Russ Clay, Russ J. Clay. There's all kinds of names, but you know him as the guy that joins us every Friday at 12:30 Eastern Standard Time. Russ, thanks again for your time today. Have a great weekend. Have a great presentation later, and we'll talk to you 7 days from now.
Thanks, Ray.
He's Russ. I'm Ray. It's been Fantasy Sports Daily powered by fantasyguru.com. Head over to fantasyguru.com right now. Click the subscribe tab in the top right corner. Click the training camp tab at the top of the page. Get signed up. You can see me. You can see Russ. You can see the whole crew giving their hour-long presentations and get that entry into the championship, the Elite Mafia Championship, to take us on in fantasy football in 2025. For Russ, I'm Ray. It's been Fantasy Sports Daily. We'll see you on Monday at 12 o'clock Eastern Standard Time on the show that is powered by fantasyguru.com.